And we are back with Making Connections. This is our weekly interview segment, of course. And joining us this morning once again is Joseph Lidgerwood, Australian chef owner of Evett, a Michelin one-star restaurant in Seoul. We are welcoming back on the show to catch up on things. A lot of things have changed since he last visited us and our listeners about a year and a half ago. So good morning, Joseph, and thank you for joining us once again on Life Abroad.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you back on the show as well. So a year and a half has passed since we last saw you.
Yes.
You were very busy then, but let's catch up with how you've been doing, especially with the coronavirus, because the last time that we talked with you, it was kind of the beginning point of the coronavirus. I don't think any of us anticipated that it would be continuing so long, but it must have been so difficult. And you're laughing now, but how has it been for your restaurant, and you personally?
Oh, it's been absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely gone on longer than we all anticipated, and I think I guess everyone's affected by the COVID crisis and the pandemic, but I think restaurants definitely feel the impact quite severely. So it's been quite long and boring, this whole pandemic, and but we've been getting through it, and we've had great support from guests and people and suppliers and everything. So we've sailed through it, and we thought that hopefully by the end of this year we can get back to what we do and what we love. And I think the whole wearing a mask in a kitchen is just possibly the most frustrating thing ever. But yeah, it's been okay.
Yeah.
Could
I ask you a little bit more about how business has been impacted? I mean, obviously with the rules on, no more than 2 after 6 as well, the highest level. But I mean, throughout the past year and a half, there have been various levels, right? That must have impacted people like not wanting to come to the restaurants.
No, definitely. I think, and fine dining especially is mostly, it's definitely, I feel, the most affected because the way it is. And the different rules and the 2 and the 4 people, it doesn't make it the way that you want to do. Oh, kicking stuff.
It's okay.
Make it the way that you want to do it with the guests. So, and then when it was the 9 o'clock kick out, and then when it was the 10 o'clock finishing up, it doesn't really, because within the fine dining, you're trying to present a really nice experience. And then if you get to we never really normally have a time limit. We don't have to tap people on the shoulder and kick them out. But within with these new rules, it kind of made it the way where 10 o'clock everyone has to leave, and it's just it's not.
Do you do deliveries and takeouts even in fine dining?
Oh, we don't. We don't. We were looking. We were looking at it this last year when we weren't quite sure about this time last year when we weren't kind of sure how it was going to go. But luckily we avoided it because I don't think our food lends too well to take away.
All right. Well, it's good to hear that you have managed to not only sail through, but I think in a way thrive, because I have to offer you congratulations. You received the 2021 Michelin Young Chef Award.
Oh,
very impressive. Tell us more about this award and how it's given out.
So this is the first year that it's been presented by the Michelin Guide, and they did 2 awards this year. One is for the Mentorship Award, and so for the people who are kind of well-crafted in their industry, and then the other one is for kind of up-and-coming young chefs.
That's the one that you received?
Yes. It's just given out to those people who really are coming up in the industry. So it was an absolute pleasure to be recognized. It's I feel absolutely honored. I always feel a little bit kind of guilty because I think a lot of my success hinges on my team and how amazing they are, and I always kind of get the credit for that.
Oh, that's really nice.
As the protagonist of the group, and I think that's a little bit unfair, but it helps. It's a really good reflection of how well the restaurant's been going, and what we've been.
Very humble, but of course, you lead the great team as well. So congratulations once again. I'm sure it's 100% deserved as well. Yeah. I know that you're young, but how young do you have to be to receive this award? Is there an age limit to be considered for the Young Award?
Well, I'm not quite too sure, because it's the first year that it's been done, so there's no real way to look back on previous years. But I think I am the youngest Michelin star chef in Korea, so maybe it was just because of that.
That's amazing. Did you know that you were in the running for this award? Because even with the Michelin stars, right? We all hear about these cloak and dagger kind of operations. They come without announcing it. They'll check everything. Yeah. But even for the awards, it's kind of a similar deal.
Yeah, I know. I knew that the award was
there
this year, as it was a new segment. It was that, and then the Green Star Award were the two things that were the new awards this year. So, but I didn't have any idea, and you never really know until you get the kind of the invite 1 week before, and then this last year was all done live stream. So until you're sitting there on the live stream, you don't really know. So
that's amazing. Once again, congratulations, especially to be doing that in a year like, the past year and a half of the pandemic. With business impacted and just all those limits on your activities. So Evett, of course, received a 1 Michelin star rating in 2019, especially for your inventive use of local ingredients and also showing the immense possibility and potential of combining these in dishes. So you take Korean ingredients, I remember, and then they're inspired by Korean flavors, and then you turn up with these incredibly inventive and imaginative dishes, and of course, amazing service as well. So just for our listeners who may not have caught our first interview with you, short introduction on how you kind of got introduced to Korea and its food culture, its ingredients, etc.
Yeah. So I first came to Korea in 2016 and I did a pop-up restaurant here. And then at that time I was traveling to different countries and doing different pop-ups. And the point of that was before that I had done kind of more formal training, very kind of classic restaurant style. And so my friends created a restaurant group and we traveled to different countries and we tried to do these kind of outrageous pop-up restaurants. And we did like Base Camp Everest, we did pop-ups on trains in Vietnam, we did bagel shops in Taiwan, and we came to Korea. And it was, just one of those places that when I first came and when I was first introduced to it, I was kind of so amazed that I'd never heard of all these ingredients before. Because as a chef, I kind of pride myself on knowing a lot about food and having a good kind of sense of different cultures and different ingredients. But with Korean food especially, you don't really hear that much outside of Korea apart from barbecue and kimchi. It's kind of real low resolution kind of ingredients. So I was really outstanded when I came here and saw all the kind of monge, doenjang, all those kind of ferments and weird and wonderful ingredients that we kept going on this tour that myself and my friends were on. And then when I finished, I really wanted to come back and visit. And I did a couple different other pop-ups. And then from that, I managed to turn all that into this restaurant, which we have now today, which has been open 2.5 years.
That's kind amazing.
Kind of quick, condensed version.
And I remember you talking about like how you like to go on these kind of trips around Korea to explore the local sort of neighborhood and then again find new and weird and interesting ingredients, right? Can I ask you kind of the question of the day? I mean, you are an amazing chef, but if you could have another sort of amazing maybe Korean chef or whatnot work with an ingredient that you maybe have not worked with before or that you've tried but you're not quite happy with the results, what would that sort of special ingredient be? That's the question of the day.
Oh,
I know it's a hard one.
Recently I've been quite interested in cell-cultured meat and fish. I think it's something that's quite new and coming out.
Come again? Cell-cultured?
Cell-cultured or kind of cell-cultured meat.
Lab-grown,
meat,
okay.
yeah. I think the terminal, they kind of classified it last year as cell-cultured, so it didn't have a stigma.
It sounds better than lab-grown,
Yeah, it doesn't have a great ring to it. And I think that's kind of I'm really interested in kind of sustainability and future foods, and that's something I'm working with personally at the moment. So I'd love to see if I had a different chef try to approach cell-cultured meat and turn it into something pretty amazing. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Very good.
Yeah.
Can I also ask you, actually, one of our listeners said gosari. They are a big fan of gosari. Brackenwood, I think is what you call it in English. What would you kind of do with that? Have you tried it in your restaurant too?
Yes, we had a dish where it was gosari and chocolate as a dessert when we first came in. So you had the bitterness of the gosari with chocolate, and we had it with doraji, and we had this kind of root vegetable dessert. I think like our first year. Yeah.
So you don't have to feel guilty at all about consuming chocolate. No, it's all these ingredients that are really healthy.
Any way you want to justify it, it's fine.
You talked about how you decided to kind of like stay in Korea after coming across all these amazing ingredients.
Yes.
Was there a single ingredient, or was there an aha moment that kind of said, "Okay, I have to stay. I have to learn more about this," or was it just a combination of all these things together?
Yeah, definitely. It would be nice to say there was one like and then we did it. And then a little montage scene, and then it's over. But no, definitely a culmination. I think my first trip with my friend Jack, when I traveled around and we went to Jeju and we saw the henyos diving, and we had all these wonderful experience of like picking fresh sea snails out of the rivers and all these kind of stuff that I was like, oh, this is just too cool to pass up.
Yeah.
But it definitely takes time, I think, to kind of condense it down. So,
have you still been able to explore Korea even with the pandemic, going around and foraging for new ingredients?
Kind of like not before the pandemic. We would so we used to do before Michelin Guide. We did like 5 days a week as a traditional restaurant, and then after we became super busy, so we actually decided to close one day. So we actually closed Wednesday, though we're all there, and that was our development day. So we'd have some of the staff come in and do some basic prep, and then the senior members would go out to a farm, and we'd kind of have this very kind of like, we called it our development day. But since COVID, it's just really difficult because if we call up a farm or something, then it's like, oh, we'd love to come down. It's like, where are you coming from, Seoul? And it's like, no, don't come. So
really?
it's like, it's just, you feel a bit awkward about it because you don't really, it's just such a serious situation at the moment that we don't want to, it's just don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. But we've been doing a lot of foraging, a lot of research, a lot of like our own personal kind of little trips and stuff like that. So we do get out as much as possible.
Ever met an ingredient that kind of said, that made you say, no, I can't do this, or I don't know how to work with this?
Oh, I think, yes. I think it automatically comes to mind. It's like hanyak, anything, all the Korean.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it would just be great. I was really romanticized about these ingredients. I was like, oh, hanyak, it's like, has this kind of thing. But then they're just so intense.
There's so many too,
yeah, there's
right?
so many. And we went, a couple months ago, we went with like a local forager, and we found all these stuff, and like it just seems like the process is like cover it with sugar and then hope for the best. And
I see.
I thought we'd be able to approach it in a different way, but I think that is just the move for that one.
Right. Okay. Well, there's plenty of other ingredients, like you say, and also I think there are other restaurants that specialize in kind of the hanyak ingredients as well. So no need to definitely go there. But let's talk about this collaboration that you work with a traditional alcohol brewery. Developing your own Korean rice wine. And I love the name of this. I remember seeing on your social media post when you were kind of asking for ideas on what to name it as well. So tell us about this.
Yes, so we collaborated with a lovely brewery here just outside of Seoul, and they did a lot of all the like. I definitely didn't make. Sorry,
they make makgeolli. What kind of?
Oh, they make mostly cheongju and yakjus, or clear spirits. But yeah, they did an amazing job in brewing this. Like, so I definitely didn't make it, and essentially, I'll start from the beginning. I've always been fascinated with Korean alcohol, and I've always wanted to promote Korean alcohol, and especially at the restaurant, we used to, for the first year, we were only using Korean alcohol, which as opposed to wine
to serve it, to pair it with your food. Really?
We only had a Korean alcohol pairing for the first year, and we only changed to wine because when people come out for dinner, they mostly lean towards wine. So we would do like a half and half where we do, you want some try some wine, and then we just slip some Korean alcohol and then try and bring them over to our side of the fence. And we've always been on trying to do that. And I think last year, Korean alcohol is really great, but sometimes for our restaurant, we can't use it because it's in plastic, or the label. The packaging is just not where it needs to be. Yeah. But the product itself is amazing. So that's where we wanted to approach it, where we wanted to kind of move most of our stuff into glass, and then have something that was kind of recognizable. And then last year during the COVID thing, I was kind of locked away for 14 days, and then I really wanted to design the label that would be kind of more leaning towards a natural wine bottle label, and something that could be recognizable and just fun, because I kind of like that kind of culture of like people going out to wine bars or going out and having a bottle of natural wine, and how the label's always kind of funky and cool, and has that just like, because I think the product's great, and I just think it just needs to be reinterpreted or kind of just
it's the packaging.
So that's why we want to. And so I drew that label like 7 months ago, and
drew it yourself.
It's like I had a lot of time during quarantine, and then we teamed up with the brewery to kind of collaborate on this thing, and yeah, it's taken 6 months. So we had to forage. So it's a yakju, and it's mixed with our magnolia chong. So during the kind of magnolia season, all our team, we went up to the mountain, we collected all the magnolia, we made a chong, we oxidized it, so it had this kind of very nice perfume flavor, and then we spent a couple more months blending and tasting and trialing to get the product. So the whole the whole procedure took 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's crazy that it's finished, and it's been like a little dream come true to kind of have that out there. So,
but you had this drawing of the cut, right?
Yes.
So that was always there. So
yes.
Did you kind of want that in the name of the new wine as well?
Yeah. Oh, I thought it definitely should, because we are going to hopefully do more, and we wanted to have, because I think Korean hats, they're so cool, and I wanted to do something that was Korean, but then was kind of something that was a little bit edgier. So we definitely wanted the word cut in that. But then it's there's 6 of us all collaborating on this thing. So to come up with our own name, it was just so difficult. So we offered it, like you said, up to social media, and then someone came up with that name, and it was just, it was as soon as it came on, it was already on the top list of ones we were going to go with, and it's
definitely recognizable. It's very sticky. I think once you hear it, it's very difficult to kind of forget about it as well.
Yeah.
Did that person get a free bottle?
They got loads of stuff. So they got a free bottle. They also came to the restaurant last weekend.
Very good.
So we gave them a free experience at Evett, and then we gifted them some bottles and thanked them profusely for their contribution. I think,
not that they were in it for the rewards, of course, but it must be amazing to have your name, the name that you suggested as well. So let's talk a little bit about hopefully business and life after COVID, whether it's living with COVID or after COVID. Because I knew you had some plans. You had wanted to travel back to Australia. I think that's what you had mentioned, at least for a visit, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were able to do so in the past year and a half. Tell us about some of your future plans.
I think... definitely getting back to Australia and meeting and then seeing how that develops. I would love to do something that was Korean based in either Melbourne or Tasmania, because I think I think Australians would really resonate really well with different types of Korean food here, especially a noodle bar or a chon place or a chon and makgeolli place, which is kind of the 2 places that I want to kind of develop in Australia. But I haven't, it's just everything's been kind of put on hold, and we've just been really focusing here on our presence here in Korea. But I think once it does open up, I think I'll try and get back and trying to explore different avenues down there, and definitely go for at least more than one visit for sure.
So it could be kind of the start of a franchise, I guess, for Evett. Maybe not fine dining, but you'll branch out to kind of different, more specialized kind of cuisines. Yeah,
definitely. And I think it'll be mostly just stuff that I like to eat on my weekend. I like fine dining, but 9 times out of 10, if it's my day off, I will be at a matjip, or I'll be somewhere just eating regular food. And I think that's the food that I want to share outside of Korea, because I think that's the stuff that doesn't get enough kind of traction outside. So it's something like a kalguksu restaurant or something like that, but just a little bit more upbeat. There's some really good versions of it in London. There's a restaurant called Kiln, which does it's just really energetic, but very kind of just simple food, and they just kind of sling it out, and it's just a fun place to be, and that's what I want to create.
What are you really into for Korean food right now? Is there something that you can't that you've maybe newly discovered and are really into?
Oh, when I first came, and I think everyone experiences it here, is Korean people are so passionate about Korean food that they show you so many things. So I think when I first came, I really saw a lot, and I've struggled to find much more since then. But I think I think anything soupy for me is just whether it's
really?
I had samgyetang yesterday, just because you got to have it during summer, and then kalguksus or any of those stuff. But then I definitely can't live without gaejang.
Gaejang. 간장 or 양념.
간장 게장.
네, 간장 게장. Me too. That's my favorite. We asked our listeners if you could have a chef cook you anything with an ingredient, what ingredient would you choose? We read out some of the messages before, but we got a new one from 7764 saying 문어나 오징어로 요리를 하면 참 맛있는데 질긴 경우가 있더라고요. 헤드 셰프님이 부드럽고 맛있게 요리해 주신다면 먹고 싶네요. Yeah, octopus.
Yes.
Kind of difficult, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
but definitely very delicious.
Very delicious, very delicious. Well, I had an amazing octopus in Busan last week. It was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, just simply steamed and then with like a gochujang sauce, and that's
all you need.
That's
if
all you
it's
need.
steamed perfectly, and it's a good one as well.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph, I want to thank you once again for
Yes.
making the time on your day off to come in and
thank you.
meet with our listeners. It's been a pleasure seeing you again. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
And congratulations once again on the Young Award as well.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.